All right, number 52, we just start going through the paperwork, and there's a 10 or 11 points, and Ashley said she wanted to offer 210, but then we changed it to 212 with 2,000 in seller help, and we talked about deposit money. She chose closer to 2%, so we're going to 4,000 in deposit. Ashley, it's November the 15th. Normally with a conventional loan like you're getting, the lender doesn't like to do it any faster than about 30 days. It's hard for them to do that. And usually people don't take much longer than 60 days. As you get close to 90 days, actually your interest rate could expire. So given you and Chad's, schedules and stuff like that, the soonest you could settle, if you wanted to get in before Christmas, would probably be like December 20th would be 35 days. That would be playing it safe. Do you feel like you want to get in before Christmas? Now remember, she's there with the kids. He's already moved. They did tell me that the house is pretty well packed up, so they could probably get out pretty quick. If, a sooner settlement for them may actually be more attractive because it would get them together for Christmas. And every family wants to be together for Christmas. So they could get down to Florida and know that your house was sold to them. So actually, if we're offering so much lower, being able to go to them as your agent and say, hey, we're going to get your family together before Christmas. My client actually, financially, it might have been even better for them to settle in January, but they know they're coming in a little lower, and we're going to do everything because it's important that, that this is what they can afford, but at least we can do everything we can to get you settled. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
You want to try for that?
The better, yeah.
Okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and do that. That's good. And then usually, an expected response date is anywhere from 24 hours from now, or in a really hot market, we might even do same day, but that can often upset a seller, especially if they're, in two different locations. They may need to talk about this a little bit. But I don't want to lose the house if we put 3 or 4 days on our response. Who knows, another offer could come in. So, what do you think about giving them till end of day tomorrow? How's that sound to respond to this offer? And we'll get it submitted yet today.
Yeah, I think that's
okay.
Fair enough.
And then items excluded in the proposal. And then they offered the refrigerator, and of course the range is an attachment in Pennsylvania. And any remaining heating and cooking fuel that's at the property, like the oil in their tank, is a fixture as well in Pennsylvania. So that and the refrigerator automatically conveys because they offered that. But there is that pool table in the basement. Chad seemed to eye that thing up. I don't know. I did ask about it when I talked to the other agent, and he said that they haven't used it in a while, and he mentioned that, he honestly didn't know how they were going to get it out of there. Do you think Chad might appreciate that?
Yeah, I think that he would.
Okay.
Maybe we can add a couple of $100 extra to the offer.
And then ask for that back? Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe, why don't we go back and do 212.5, right? And actually, I have an idea. Why don't we offer 212 with the 2,000 in seller help? But why don't I tell them you might be willing to pay a little bit more if they throw the pool table in, and see what they come back with. Okay. Let's just hold that card. We won't put it in writing. Let's just hold that. And let me just feel them out when I give the offer, and just ask them about that pool table. Because if they tell me that they'd actually prefer not to move it out, I'd like to get that for you for free. But I don't know that we can do that. But I think it's better to keep it off the offer, and I'll just keep that in my back pocket. Okay? And then the next thing is just, is there anything else that's not attached to the house that you guys really want to throw in there? The only other thing I saw was like there's a big freezer, storage freezer. I didn't really see anything else there. Did you?
Does the chandelier, is that considered a fixture?
That's considered a fixture,
okay.
And they did not exclude that. So yeah, that would stay.
No, I can't think of anything else other than that.
Okay, great. We'll write that in. The refrigerator will even though they conveyed it on the MLS sheet, we'll need to write the refrig in because the sales agreement supersedes the advertisement, and so it's not the fridge is not a fixture. So we'll add that to the contract. All right, finance and contingency. I know you're putting 3% down on the $212,000 loan, and so 97% of 212 is 205,640. So we're going to put in the mortgage contingency a loan amount of 205,640, and your interest rate is going to be 4.5% according to your lender good faith estimate. Not to exceed, I'm going to put in there 5%, if that's okay with you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be structured as a 30-year residential conventional mortgage. And in the space here it says lender. We're going to put Orrstown Bank because that's who you're using. And loan commitment date, we're going to put on there, I know Anna from Orrstown is going to want 30 days there, so we're going to put December 15th, which is really only 5 days before settlement, so it's a little tight, but that's the best she's going to be able to do. So what this basically says, Ashley, is that you guys will make a good faith effort to obtain a loan for 205,640. If you can't obtain that loan and you get denied, even though you made a good faith effort for any reason, appraisal, you lost your job, whatever, as long as the reason isn't that you lied, as long as it's a viable reason, then you would get your deposit money back as a $4,000. Okay. Next thing is inspection contingency. So we typically recommend, like any homeowner gets a home inspection, radon, termite. This property is also on well and septic, so a lot of, we'd always recommend a septic inspection because that's a huge ticket item. But a lot of people want to get a water inspection as well, which is certainly reasonable. Is there anything on there that you'd prefer not to get that you want to waive? And these all do cost money, and they are expenses for you and Chad.
When we pay these up front.
You pay these up front to the inspectors, yep.
What about surveying?
So surveying, you can obtain a survey. It's actually an inspection contingency pre-written into the boilerplate contract. In 15 years of doing this, I've only ever had 2 that have made their offer contingent on a survey, and they were larger tracts of land. Okay. In subdivisions, it's not very customary to do that. Part of it is in Pennsylvania, it can be costly, so it can cost you a good $1,000 and take 3 or 4 weeks to get a survey, but it's completely within your right to do it. Okay. If you have a concern about the property line or anything like that, I'd encourage you to do it. Okay. But if you're just like, no, we don't really care, and we see here on the tax record that according to the tax record, and it's written in the deed, it's 0.4 of an acre, and you're satisfied that you're getting conveyed that much land, and you've looked at it and you see mow lines, and you don't really care about a foot here or there or anything like that. That's up to you whether you'd like to make that contingency. Just know that'll be an extra cost.
No, I think we'll pass on that.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
And so the rest of them you'd like to do?
Yeah.
To elect?
I think so.
Okay, great. We'll elect those for you. The one thing I should let you know is that all of those inspections are at your cost, but the septic inspection, it's pre-written in the fine print of the contract that the seller will be required to pump their tank and pay for that and provide access. If it has to be dug up and it costs $100 to dig it up, they'll have to pay for that as well, but you'll pay for the inspection fee of the septic. One other thing is this house, I know the spouse, the wife, she has been gone for 2 weeks. For vacant homes or a home that the septic hasn't been used in 2 weeks, they need to do a hydraulic load test in order to actually do an inspection, because the whole purpose of an inspection of a septic is to, 1, look at the tank and make sure it's not leaking, and number 2, look at the drain field in the grass and make sure it's absorbing the water at a proper rate. And with no water and showers and toilets flushing and dishwashers going through the system, there's no water in that drain field right now for them to be able to see if it's wet or if it's absorbing properly. So what they have to do is spend 2 days out there with a big truck and pump gallon after gallon of water through that system and mimic it being used very hard, and then they can actually probe that drain field to finish their inspection. The problem is that extra cost of the hydro test is probably going to cost an additional $450. Could be as much as $500 over and above the normal inspection fee. I just want to make sure you're okay with that. If you don't want it, you don't have to have it, but the truth is that the septic system is the most costly component of the house, and if there's a problem with that drain field, you would regret not having it.
Yeah, I think it would be best that we definitely have that done.
Okay, so we'll make sure that's in there as well. All right, great. So now this is not in a homeowners association or condo association, so we don't have to worry about that, and it's not contingent on a settlement of you and Chad's property because you're currently renting. Is there anything else we missed or anything else you want me to write in here that is a concern to you guys with the house?
No, I can't recall anything else. No.
Great. So I think I have everything. So what I'm going to do is write this up, and then why don't we take you guys come in here about 4 o'clock today, and we'll take a half an hour, and I'll just kind of skim through the terms of the contract. But really, what I want you guys to know, in summary, is that what this contract is saying is that you guys are going to pay $212 for the house. You're going to ask the seller for $2,000 in seller's assistance. You're going to offer up a refundable $4,000 escrow deposit, which comes back to you at closing and is only theirs if you default and are in default of the contract. It is with an expected settlement date on or before December 20th. We are asking them to respond by the end of the day tomorrow. It's included, non-fixtures included are the refrigerator, and I'm going to keep the pool table kind of in the back of my head. It is contingent upon you fully applying with a good faith effort for a conventional mortgage through Orrstown Bank at 4.5% for 30 years at $205,640, and with a loan commitment date on or before December 15th. If you make a good faith effort and can't get the house or the loan for any reason, you would get that deposit back. But if you lied or were dishonest or didn't make a good faith effort, that could be a reason they could actually ask for to keep the deposit.
Okay.
Inspections, you've elected home termite, radon, water, and septic, knowing that you'll do a hydraulic load test as well. And you've waived the survey and lead-based paint. It's not in a homeowners association. It's not contingent on sale and settlement of any other property or anything miscellaneous. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll have it all
That's
written
great.
up, and we'll see you at 3 or 4 o'clock.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah? So, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I usually would have that conversation like on the phone or in the office before I went. And you guys, you might be here ready to buy this house, and I would do that with a notepad, and I would say, get your cup of coffee, sit tight for about 15 minutes, and I'll get everything taken care of, and I'll be back for you to sign. What I don't generally do is fill it out with them watching me. It's just awkward. And as a new agent, you will be sitting there sweating, literally like, well, so just leave.
Okay.
That is my tip of the day. The goal, I already said, the goals review. Always seek to understand, then to be understood. Educate, counsel, communicate. All right. Some of the paperwork and documentation involved are consumer notice, buyer's agency. Both of them should have already been signed. Agreement of sale, buyer estimate of closing costs, deposit money notice, seller property disclosure, lender pre-approval, good faith estimate from lender, which is duplicate of your own cost sheet. You're doing your own cost because it's the law. The lender cost sheet should, it has their fees on it, so should be more accurate. MLS printout and associated documents on the listing. And then we're going to review a processing sheet in a moment. But I'm going to stop this recording right now.
Anytime you have a client sign any documentation,
Yep.
they always get a copy of anything they sign, correct?
They do.
Everything. Like whether it's consumer notice
Yep.
or...
They always get a
okay.
copy. And sometimes, if it's not practical, I would just email them a copy later. Sometimes that happens.
Is there a time frame that you have to get them the copy? Like especially like your settlement paperwork. I mean, do they get it like right then and there that day?
So, if there is a time period, I don't know what it is. But I always get it from them or to them within a day or two.